נהיה לו בלחץ, ובשנייה, בגיל הסתם.
Welcome, everyone, to Waze Community's Office Hours Annual Kickoff for 2023. I'm your host, Brett, and I'm absolutely thrilled today to have with us Waze's COO Gai Berkovich and our interim head of Waze Communities, Fej, who's been such an amazing help during Hila's absence. So today, we're going to hear from our Waze leads on what they've got planned for us for 2023, and then we're going to dive right into some Q&A. So start entering your questions now by clicking the link that Danit's going to throw in chat or scan this QR code. There we go. QR code up?
QR code?
Nope, just a second. There we go. There's our QR code. So if you want, you can submit questions. Also, for all of you who submitted questions before, you're going to see them. We've got them in the deck for later. But before we dive in, I've got just a couple of announcements. First, our next episode is going to be on February 19th. So make sure to tune in because we're going to be demoing all of the new EV features that are now out in beta in selected countries. And also later in March, our own Anat is going to be hosting office hours for another special Q&A session with Waze's new Chief Product Officer, Tina Wand. So we've got a lot in store for you. So let's dive right in. Guy, you ready?
Okay, I'll be ready. More ready.
Awesome.
As I said before, never a dull moment here. Okay, hi everybody and welcome. I want to kick off this year like we do every year. This is the one thing that keeps happening. We are kicking it off together every year for more than a few years now. I just asked Dalia before we started whether Hila is not under a lot of stress that we are doing it without her. And as always, Dalia told me, what do you think? Of course, she's under a lot of stress. So I'm also saying hello to her, but we do have Fej and I guess everybody else. And I want to start like always to go over some of the highlights and lowlights and set the stage for what is next. So let's move to the next slide. So just for me to remember everything, I wrote it down. The last year was really a phenomenal year for Waze in terms of feature releases and overall improvements to our product. And I can say that as well because I do see also the behind the scenes and whatever we are doing in the infrastructure. And this is something we have been speaking about for the last few years, and it is happening. It's easier to develop and it's easier for us to get it done. But what is more important, that you help make Waze even better day to day with your contribution to the map and the app. From suggestion to mapping, testing, and localizing new features that we can actually see and we can actually count on you. This past year, we have launched some great features together with new projects like Koi-fish that will take our map data to the new heights. We also released many of the features you have been waiting a long time for, like far lanes, improving the navigation experience. The app saw a lot of investment improving experience with Copilot and voices and made major development with the in-car to support the new Android Auto operating system. It still is in the work, but we are getting more and more to perfect it. We were not only focused on drivers, but we also committed to making even more improvements to the WME and the application behind the scenes. In 2022, we launched 16 WME community suggestions, including important functionalities like the WME ruler, compact mode, which is, I know it's still in beta, new zoom levels, and place labels, and virtual nodes for segments and polygons. We know that providing you the best tool to edit with is critical, so we continue investing in features like issue tracker. And finally, although it was a bittersweet one, the major change we made this year was sunsetting carpool which has allowed us to focus even more on what really matters to most of you and most of the Waze users. And this is what we're going to continue doing during 2023. As always, we have a rollout, which I always like to be transparent and share with you. Well, some of them. Of course, as always, we did not get to do everything we wanted yet, and we faced some challenges to our map safety that had to be dealt with first, and it's still undergoing. We are confident in the new protection measures being rolled out in the coming weeks and are excited to open back up to new editors. We'll have much more robust limits and tools in place to deal with all the spammers, and unfortunately, we have a lot of spammers, and this is why we need to actually protect every time. Part of our new chapter is understanding that as we invest in some features, it is also important to understand we will need to say no to other features for the time being. And this is our life. While the development of permanent hazard was delayed in favor of far lanes, Project Coifish and Issue Tracker, it is on our 2023 roadmap, and we are going to make it. We understand that updating a tool outside of WME is challenging, and it is hard for editors to know if there is a toll on a segment so they don't break the toll pricing entered. Editing on mobile is also something we didn't get to do this year. This is still not sure. That said, we are planning to support the most wanted features coming from scripts and have taken measures in recent months to whitelist sources and give scripters resources they need to keep their project functional. This is something I'm very happy we got. It took a few years. And finally, the problem that we know comes up every year, navigating between North America and the rest of the world, is not seamless. This is complex technical efforts that we need more time to fully explore. We actually finally have a small team that is exploring it. We did it a few years ago, but because we invested a lot in the infrastructure during the last 2 years, I want us to re-explore it, and Gildy Satnik is actually holding a team to explore it again, but at the moment, it's not yet in our plans. So, what makes us most proud is that so many of these innovations that we just saw and spoke about were prompted by you, by our most dedicated community members. And I truly believe that you are what makes Waze unique. And today, it's even more important. This is what we are going to do next with Google. This is our main asset, and this is what we can actually share together. So I just wrote it here. What makes truly Waze unique is our ability to bring a global community together to share real-time insight and help each other outsmart traffic. But it's not just outsmart traffic, it's making sure that we are making it safe again. Before I continue, I do want to say thank you to Nea, and I saw that most of you really related to her post she put. I actually met her a few times in the last couple of weeks. I'm sure that being a Waze CEO, we'll always stay with her, not just on her LinkedIn profile, but we'll stay with her for all of her days. Being the CEO of Waze isn't just a job. This is something that impacts the whole rest of your life, and I still speak with Noam from time to time, and I can see that. The impact you, the community, made on her was huge, and she quickly actually grasped your importance, not only to Waze, but to your home countries, and I know that she will remember what you have taught her for the rest of her life. So for me, I think she did really great work by helping us steering the ship at Waze, and she helped us even being more focused on the things that matters to the hyperlocal and to the community. So thank you for me to Neha, and from us, I guess. Geo, this is the future. So let's not wait any longer and move on to the most exciting announcement of the past few weeks. And I get so many pings about it. Well, since yesterday, I'm getting other pings. But until yesterday, I got pings on Geo. Now we have more issues that we are in the news, Google. So this is about the collaboration with Google Geo organization. So as you all know, in 2022, we started the project Coifish. It was even much before. It was with Geo to explore how we can combine our strengths to make the most accurate maps possible between all Google's platforms. Waze has the most unique real-time and hyperlocal data available, which give us a lot of opportunities in this collaboration and also give a lot of added value to the users and the Wazers around the globe that you actually represent. So first of all, I want to reassure you, this is an amazing thing for Waze. This is how I see it. And really solidifies our brand identity within the bigger Google system. They really understand how unique and special Waze is, and we are coming to this merge, so-called merge, not as an underdog, but on the contrary. So putting our two strengths together will really complement each other, but we will get completeness by Geo, but we will stay Waze. And now I'm happy to pass it over to Fedge, who will give some more insight on what's in store for the community this year. Take it away, Fedge.
Hello. I hope you can hear me now because I was unmuted and was on mute. So first of all, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending wherever you are. I wanted to touch base a bit on both the community, how we are seeing about growing it, deal with some of the issues that Guy mentioned related to the map safety, and then touch base a bit on some of the features. Overall, in relation to growing the community, we've definitely made some investment this year and are planning to do it next year as well. We definitely want more recruitment of more new editors and seeing that they are becoming an integral part of the community and being retained. As such, we invested in the mentoring flow and we're happy to introduce mentoring coordinators that hopefully will ensure that none of the newbies are falling between the cracks. In addition, we wanted to automate some of the stuff, so automation of emails, UX update, and overall trying to make the WME more discoverable, user-friendly, and fun. The more that we are able to communicate, I think the better we have the opportunity to grow the new editors. And hopefully next year will be even better. We've invested in all kind of plans that we want to perform in 2023. Investing heavily in the community, improving the transparency and connectivity with the staff and local leadership, and also having some investment on the local side, like suggested edits, which will enable new editors to communicate with the more experienced one, to enable us, on the one hand, to accept the changes and also hopefully avoid spam. Also, we are trying to see about new roles to enable new users to get into a leadership or semi-leadership role so that they can be able to contribute and focus on how they can blend into the community. In addition, we want to have better profiles, additional information about how we are going to actually be able to be transparent about the various positions and various roles that we have, so that it's clear how people are going to be promoted, how people are going to be contributing, and to increase fairness and transparency so that it's clear to everybody how the community is growing. Finally, we want to measure. We want to measure the satisfaction. We want to measure the interactions. We want to enable more surveys. We shorted targeted surveys, but hopefully those that will give us some clear insights as to how the community is feeling throughout the year. Next slide. Or maybe I can change it. Okay, enhanced map security. Great. As you know, and as Guy mentioned, we definitely had the increase in spam and threat to the map. And that forced us, unfortunately, to have a lockdown for level 1. We invested a lot of efforts, unplanned efforts, but definitely efforts that were in, I would say, designed to enable us to open everything back. And we are now in the process of opening with hopefully enough safety measures to protect the map. So first of all, with the map suggestions, as I mentioned, users will be able to suggest edits they want to be doing. And if it's outside their lock level, the experienced editors will be able to assist and actually accept or reject without damage created to the map. For new editors, we want a validation process. We want them to be more connected. Also, as part of the mentoring, to see that they are going to, again, blend in and cooperate, work according to the standards and procedures, and overall have an easier way to get into the next level of the editing. Obviously, editing frequencies and features, etc., will be able to unlock the user trust and also us activating these users to see that they are doing the right thing, and we have no issue with spam or any other such activities. To prevent UR spam, user request spam, we are also taking some measures so that everybody is less irritated about closing such spam or I would say empty type messages and requests. And as such, we are also having a more enhanced moderation tool to protect the map integrity and also privacy against bad actors. So all of this together, hopefully, will improve the security, improve user satisfaction, both of the editors as well as you, the community, so that there is less spam and less waste of time. Next slide. As for the features, I will touch base only on a few of them. You are familiar with Koi-fish and map suggestions. EV station is definitely something that we are now in the midst of seeing how we are incorporating them into the map. And additional features that were a bit delayed, as I mentioned, like permanent hazards, time-based restrictions, etc. And last but not least, the Waze chat phase 2, which will hopefully enable to communicate directly with reporters, and also improve the ability to strengthen the community and communication across the platform. Next. Last but not least, obviously, you're all aware that we had started last year going back with the meetups. And of course, this is something that we are very delighted. We'll be happy to see you in your various countries. And we have already 39 meetups planned for this coming year. Everything is back on track and on schedule. And we can't wait to meet you again, get the community back together again, and see exactly how we can revamp this going forward. We have a very exciting 2023, and hopefully a lot of what we are planning is going to come true. As usual, you don't need to wait for us to come to you. You can always talk to the community leadership and participate in local meetups and local cafe. And again, hopefully everything will go smooth and we'll have a very, very successful 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Fej. So let's dive right into some questions. I'm going to take some of the pre-submitted ones first, and then we'll see what you all submitted live today. So our first question is, what is the status of the EV feature? You know what? I'm going to take this one because I'm the one here on the EV squad. So we are right in the middle right now of our pilot launch. So we are sending out PURs currently for the new EV venues in Israel, Portugal, and Slovakia. And then in the coming days and weeks, we're going to be launching with our phase 2 countries and regions. So we'll be seeing France and the US Southwest region, and maybe a few others that we're still working on. So basically, we're looking now that in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be having the WME features in production. Right now, they're currently all available in beta. And for the app, it is currently in alpha testing, and we should be moving to beta also within the next couple of weeks. So we're really on target here, and we're super excited about it. You're going to hear a ton more about it on next month's office hours on February 19th. So make sure that you sign up, and we'll be posting it in the forum tomorrow for registration. Great, let's take our next question. So when can we expect to have the issue tracker back? So Fej, do you want to maybe take this one?
It's in the process. I mean, I'm not exactly sure entirely about the timeline, but we are in the process of getting it back. Again, maybe Brett, you have a more precise date than myself, but
yeah. So I know from our schedule, we're really talking in the coming weeks, if not days. And really, I would expect to have it back online before the end of this week. But that's with me holding my fingers crossed. So maybe Guy can do some magic to push Issues Tracker back along. But
Okay.
we'll.
I'm saying weeks, right?
Not days, hopefully.
Okay.
So, yeah. All right, let's take another question. And what is the change to Waze's vision and strategy given the merger with Google's Geo team? So this is a total Guy question here.
Well, this is a great question, I think, because I believe that as I'm saying now, we are not getting into this merger as underdog. We've been working a lot on the infrastructure and the stickiness of our users and the added value that we are giving. This is by the help of you all. And the brand of Waze is a beloved brand all over the world. So thanks to everyone, we are now actually starting to build the vision together with Geo. And for that, we have some working groups that are going to start working next week. This is the beginning of the process. I'm coming to this process with a clear vision. And we're going to build it together, of course, with the Geo leads. My vision is that the Waze will be the go-to navigation app for all driving, for all Geo. This is my vision. When, how, can we do it all, not all? But I'm coming to the table with a clear vision that this is what I believe is the right thing for everyone. And once we have more details and data from these working groups, I will be more than happy to share.
Excellent. So let's take another question from the deck here, and then we're going to move over to some live questions. So when did you plan to map time-based speed limits on segments? And we have many streets where there are different speed limits during the day or a week. So this is really talking about a roadmap and the scheduler that Gilda Satnik has been working on. Do you want to talk about that a little bit for permanent hazards and all the rest of the scheduler-based features that we're going to be working on this year?
So actually, I'm going to be presented with the actually functional planning for H1 in the next 2 weeks, and I know it's already in the planning. So it's not going to be delayed even any further. The squad, you said that you are in the squad? Ah, no, you're in EV.
I'm in EV.
So the other squad that Gilda Satnik is actually the product manager, is having it in its plans. And in the next few weeks, these plans are going to be approved, resourced, and then the work is going to be started.
I can share a little behind the scenes gossip too. About 2 weeks ago, I sent out to all the global champs a sheet to start sharing their most complicated examples of schedules with Gil. So I can tell you for a fact that it's already in the works and they're starting to formulate everything.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let us switch over. Let's take a look at some of the questions that we've gotten from the live chat now. So we already have a few up here. There's one, the first one, which has 5, you can see better probably up here, has 5 updates, is when will level 1 editors be able to edit again and we are losing newcomers? This, by the way, I think is really like one of the biggest issues facing our community right now with recruitment and retention. Fej, do you have any clarity on the timeline for when things are getting unlocked?
It's really, really close. I mean, we're in the final stages to check the security enhancement that we made, and so I hope really that, again, if not days, then weeks or end of the month. We are aware of it. This is something, again, we invested a lot of resources. We want to make it happen. We understand that this is critical. And the moment we are satisfied that what we implemented is good enough, then we're going to it's also, by the way,
Fed, your microphone suddenly you are doing something and we cannot hear you.
Yeah, we're getting some static from
I'm
your
not doing anything. I'm not doing
Again.
any movement.
Now we can hear you.
So
a minute ago, we can hear only scratches.
Oh, Sanjay's in chat writing illegal words. I think that we might need to hit him with a hammer. So if you didn't hear what Fej was saying, that we're really expecting this in the next couple of days, and really from my perspective, before the NA Mega Meetup or at it, even better, I would love to announce something. Maybe we'll see. But again, this is something that we're taking extremely, extremely seriously, and we do understand the impact that it's having on your recruitment efforts and community for sure. All right, let's take another live question.
I just wanted to add one more question, one more comment, because I saw the issue about the UR. We also want to limit the URs. It makes no sense that someone can issue tens and more of URs. We are going to put a throttling limit to prevent it. This is all part of the plan.
Excellent. So this is a Guy question if I've ever seen one, which I want an answer to because, I don't have clarity. How will the new round of layoffs at Google Alphabet impact Waze?
The layoffs are a Google process that started on Friday, and as such a big and public company, you probably imagine that first people to know about it are the newspaper before even the employees, and this is exactly what is going on. So although I don't have all the data yet, one thing I can assure you, I believe it will make us even more focused and more working to the essence of what we need, and this is exactly what is happening. So Waze maybe will actually be affected in this way or the other, but not in a way that it will create any hazards to our brand or efficiency. It will make us even more efficient.
Fair enough. And I also just want to remind you that I have legions of loyal community member fans out on YouTube. So I'm just going to put that on the table. So anyways, just kidding. I want to go back to the last question because Elohai put up a really interesting follow-up on the level 1 unlock. If we can just go back. So on Fej, are we going to be throttling higher level editors, or the throttling will only happen on level 1?
The lower levels. We definitely trust the higher levels. We trust you. The issue is either newcomers or spammers or those that are seeing joy in damaging the map, and we are definitely aiming at the lower levels in that respect.
Okay, so let's jump back to our deck and go to our next question here, which is, when can we expect the winning hackathon suggestion to be implemented, which was major change in speed limit notifications? So, Fej, do you want to?
I can answer it.
Answer
Yeah. It's in the planning in the planning of this year.
It's in the work.
We do hope that we have it in the beginning of H2. We are, and I'm personally trying to push for it so that it will be before. But right now, it's going to be again in the it's planned to be on the second half of the year. We are definitely aware of the importance. It's a very good feature. I think it's part of our safety messaging. And this is exactly why the squad that is dealing with safety has its on its plan.
And I will say that Anat Shmuelevitz just posted an update in the forum earlier today. Danit, can you throw that link up that I sent you earlier? If you need, I can shoot it over again. But we have in the forum a full update for you on the hackathon in progress. So Danit's going to throw that in chat now. Let's take a look at our next question from the deck. So this one was really interesting. Will Waze ever have a multilingual map? I know this is something that I deal with living in Israel every day because everything's in Hebrew, which I don't really read so well. So currently street names are only in the local language, and it would be great for users to have the choice between several languages, like for example, between the local language and English. Is this something you want to comment on, Guy?
First of all, you need to learn Hebrew. It's a very easy
it's
language.
The perennial demand. I don't sound as smart and as funny in Hebrew. That's really the problem holding me back.
But 3 years old here in Israel speak it fluently, so it must be an easy language. This is also something that we are looking every year into it, and it's a matter of, on one hand, it's a matter of infrastructure, and we have some of the infrastructure already. Maybe the merge with Geo will give us more data on different maps around the globe, and we will give them and they will give us. At the moment, I don't see it realistically getting into the plans of 2023, unfortunately, but it will stay in the priority. I'm not saying it just to say it, because I do want to see it happening in the years to come, but not in 2023 probably.
Cool.
At the end of the day, we are really aimed for local usage, and most of the usage is local, less touristic. So the local language is probably going to be used much more than any other language in any case, even if and when this kind of feature is being done. So as Guy said, it's a bit of a matter of priority. Do we want to invest in it for a small or relatively small amount of users that will use it? Or do we have features that are more global, that have more effect and impact on the global scene? That's the dilemma.
We need to do it. The question is when.
Fair enough. Let's take a look at our next question in the deck. So, are there any plans to support trucks with height and weight restrictions, restricted roads, or turns unsuitable for trucks? This is one that we get a lot. Fej, do you want to take this? I see you're like ready to.
This is an answer that I answer each and every time. The issue with trucks is that we need the restriction, especially the issue of the height, 100%. We can't have it 90. We can't have it 80. We can't have, like EV stations where we might miss some. Once we are expected to be providing truck routes, we need all the information. Otherwise, it creates a problem, and then we are going to be blamed. So the question is, how many truck drivers are we going to have that are actually going to use it, and how much information we need to accumulate before we can open it? So right now, at least, it's not on the table. Is it something that maybe in the future we can have? Perhaps. But right now, it's too much information. too much investment in complicated routing, because trucks have different routes than cars, and the risk issue, which right now it's hard for us to see how we mitigate, because it involves definitely risks. So that's the issue.
Let's take a look at one more question from the deck, and then we'll go, after this one, we'll go back to some live questions. But I thought this is actually kind of a good follow-up on that one. Like, why are satellite images not displayed on the Waze app? I feel like it's kind of the same reasoning there between map clutter and other things. Like, why aren't we showing live satellite images on the Waze app? It's just the flat map.
Actually, in Israel, for example, we are starting to show satellite images because we just bought them. I actually don't know the exact answer here.
In the app.
Sorry,
Waze
not
app.
at the editor.
No, not in the editor,
Sorry.
in the Waze app.
Sorry. And in the app, sorry.
It's an issue of, I mean, right now the app is taking resources, which is network and battery, and being always on, getting additional information, and it's not a lightweight information, but getting additional information is definitely going to take additional resources and deplete the battery, etc. So the question is, again, are we able to do it? Is the CPU and memory and the battery good enough to do it? Today, at least, it is not. I think that Google Maps has the ability, and it has an offline mode, whereas in the information, a lot of the information is already downloaded or pre-downloaded. We today do not have it. And again, it's definitely something that is going to have a cost, which right now we have not plans to tackle with.
Alrighty, so let's move back to some live questions from our audience here on YouTube. So now we have adding this bureaucracy of geo teams is going to cause the community requests to be handled more slowly than normal, or will we see more soons? Do you think it's going to be part of geo is going to slow things down, or will it help us speed things up in terms of development? The community doesn't want to hear soon any more than they already do.
Soon is kind of a joke in some areas. Again, for the longer term, I don't think that Geo will add more bureaucracy, but on the contrary, it actually will give us an option to be more focused and get some resources where we need them, so we can actually move faster on things that slowed us down. Fej and myself were dealing with many issues on privacy and security that we had to deal with ourselves. And I hope that after the merge will complete, we will get some, backwind and not headwind from Geo. This is exactly what we are trying to do. And also, I believe that being in Google, part of a tech organization is always better than being outside of a tech organization. And the organization that we are now being merged into, it's a pure tech. It's not marketing or things like that. So looking at the leadership of Geo, and we met them a few times, things will actually start moving faster. This is how I see it.
All right, good to know. So
Just one more comment. To reiterate what Guy is saying. I think that we have a lot in common with Geo. A lot of, I would say, similarities in the way we think and the way we look at issues and the way we look and how to implement and solve problems and provide user value. And this is something that in the old organization, which was more focused on business development and sales, we did not have a counterpart. So I think this is something that right now with the cooperation and with the assistance of Geo, definitely it's going to assist us in our roadmap.
Great. Let's take another question from the crowd. So this is one that we get a lot, actually. Any plans to have an undo over history if someone makes wrong edits? So a lot of the time, I'll get an editor that contacts us that says, can you revert the tiles on this specific area? And unfortunately, the answer is no, because the reality is it's a very complex system in the WME where you have multiple people editing on the same tile at the same time. So if we reverted a tile, we can't just do it for one user's edits, the way that they're all layered. So it would end up wiping out the whole day's work that everybody else contributed on the WME. So this turns into like a much more complex thing. It's not as easy as just hitting a back button on one user's edits. I don't know, Fej, do you have any other wisdom to contribute there?
No, it's very hard. It's a complicated database problem. How you can just unwind or undo a specific session. So right now, at least, this is not something that we have a technical solution which enables it. That's the situation.
Yeah. All right, let's take another question from the crowd, and then we're going to go back to the pre-submitted ones. So next one, due to the merger with Google, will it be allowed to use direct sources from Google to edit the maps in WME? This is like a fetish question. I feel like this is one of those legalese things of what's not.
It all depends. It's as usual. It all depends on where the data in Google comes from. So a lot of the data, for example, let's take Israel, is not received from parties that enable to do derivative work. So I think that like we are doing around the world in certain cases where there's open data, where we view it and then we are able to approve it or not. I think this is the same case. So if there is something that you want to use, if there is a specific source, we'll have to look into it. And if it's possible, then we'd be more than happy to enable it to be used for editing.
Great. So let's move back to our pre-submitted questions. Excellent. So from Santiago in Mexico, how often are you going to import new COI segments? So I know that we do plan to make this an automated process later on in the year at a later phase. But right now it's all a huge manual import. Do you all have any other insights on that, on how far along it's going to take or what it's going to look like once everything is set up to be automatically updated from map suggestions through Koifish?
It's not going to be fully automated. Okay, we are still going to have the community involved.
No, I mean when they're going to be receiving them, because right now we're giving them the segments manually, but they're eventually going to be getting them.
No, this is going to be this is going to be automated. We are going to see during the work groups, as we are going to speak with them about map making and navigation. This is part of the work groups.
Great. And I know for now, we did do the big push, but if anyone needs another one-off run, it's something that I think that we should be able to cover. So just be in touch with your community manager and we'll see what the feasibility is to refresh the segments for your country as well. Let's take another question from the deck. So what do we have up next? We have, are there any plans to use traffic flow data coming from Geo to make Waze real-time traffic flow information more accurate, especially if those areas where Waze has not yet been intensively used? So this was an interesting one. I did look into this question, and we actually do use already geo traffic data in very specific use cases, but only in a few selected countries. And it's used mostly for traffic jams and ETA when Waze needs supplemented info when we don't have any user-generated content. But Guy or Fej, are there plans to increase that sort of data sharing back and forth between Geo and Waze to get some live traffic data from the Geo side onto the Waze map in different areas?
This is exactly what should happen after the merge. We are merging not just in order to have the same prefix in our office. We are looking for the essence, and this is exactly what we are doing now in the work groups. So sharing nav logs and things like that, this is exactly what will help make Google better, and of course, what is more important, Waze better. So whenever we can, and whenever it will be a win-win, and will not put us on more legal implication on things like that, this is where we're going to push for it, and this is where Waze, Fej and I are in the working groups.
Excellent. So let's take our next question from the deck here. at the EMEA Mega Meetup, you told us that in-car is very important for Waze, and I'm also an in-car user. When do you expect to roll out new features for in-car like turn guidance or road shields, and especially on CarPlay on iOS?
Oh, first of all, we're doing it on a daily basis all the time. We keep improving our in-car, both on CarPlay and on the Android side. We just launched together with Renault, for example, as an embedded pre-install. And on the CarPlay, we are trying to have more and more collaboration and cooperation with Apple whenever we can. And we are trying to close the gap as much as we can and even have a better and holistic experience in the iOS and CarPlay and in-car. And this is where we are going to push more. This is what we are doing on a daily basis, actually.
All right.
We need one comment. We need to remember that we are limited the templates they are providing us. So it's not that we can do whatever we want. They have a say, and not only have a say, have limitations that they impose on us. This is, by the way, the same thing for iOS and Android Auto. There's a level of how many, I would say, communication or messaging you can do. There's an issue of what you can and cannot show, the size of the fonts, etc. And all these are putting restrictions and implicating our ability to support.
But we are pushing them as well to update the templates, including specifically in iOS, that now we have a stronger voice in the table.
Very true. Let's take one more from the deck, and then after this one, we'll go back to some live questions. So, are there any plans to allow alphanumeric addresses in the app for both Android and iOS so that drivers can use them for destinations, like example 10A Main Street? I know this is a big issue here in Israel. Like, whenever I try to search for an address that has an aleph or a bet in the next to the number, the search goes kind of haywire. So, is this something that we're going to be tackling in 2023? We can say it's not on the roadmap.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't encountered this specific item, but I think that, you know, we can raise it once more. I think it a bit depends on the ability of Google and the autocomplete to deal with it. In the editor, it's definitely going to be relatively big to edit. So perhaps the autocomplete can enable it. I don't know.
This was something really big that came up few months ago, actually, maybe like 8-9 months ago, when we did a special where we had some info on trip overview when that was being launched, and it was a thing that came up. I know that, like you said, Fej, it's part of the Google search autocomplete that is causing the issue there. So maybe with the new Geo partnership, we can have some more headway to get them to fix it.
Autocomplete is not part of Geo, by the way.
Oh, well, then never mind.
And fortunately, it sits very close. It sits in Haifa. The team that is doing the autocomplete sits in Haifa.
So let's take a road trip. We gotta go. We gotta go see what's going on.
We can actually see what we can, but I simply don't remember the effort. So can we take an action items and put it, let's say, on me and Fej? We will check it.
Awesome. So let's go back to some live questions. So will there be an API or an XML upload system for the EV charging station so that we can inject it automatically? So I can answer this. Currently, no. We are starting now with one feed, and then in future phases over the next few months, we'll be adding more feeds. The community you are all able to map your own charging stations that won't be connected to a feed. But at this point, we don't have any plans for a community-generated API sort of feed to update them. But that's a really interesting idea that I'm happy to bring back to the squad. I know for a fact, one of the major things we're going to be relying on are all sorts of user-generated content, be it reports to tell us where things are wrong or don't exist on the ground, or updating prices or plugs or all that sort of stuff. And I would really love ways to streamline that communication from the community. So I'm happy to bring it up to the squad. What's up next from our live questions? So are there any plans to improve the app interface with regard to adding closures? That's interesting. So that'd be from adding closures on mobile. I'm not quite sure about that.
I think that in the rewire, they are checking everything, and we can take it with Duffy because they should look again on this entire user experience. And I believe that they do, actually.
I do know that the reporting menu is going to be getting some love in Rewire.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I would imagine that this will probably
No,
be
no. So
included.
I'm quite sure. I just saw I'm going to see all the presentation during the functional planning HBR, but we can take it with. I will take it together with the squad.
Great.
This is, by the way, a very complicated UI because you need to press on the specific segment in the specific direction. It's really not trivial, but we are going to tackle the issue of closures when they are going to take effect. Issue of reopening them based on heuristics and things like that. So perhaps this is also something that they're going to touch with.
Great. Let's take another question from the crowd. So Waze Chat Phase 2 will include the possibility to send messages with copy and or several recipients to make rooms. So group chats. Are we going to get group chats in Waze Chat Phase 2? I believe that is on the roadmap.
We need to take this question and answer them with after we see the planning for 2023, because I don't know all these answers.
I understand, but that's the hazard of doing live.
Live
YouTube,
okay, no, but no, I understand. But I do want us to get back to this audience.
Yeah, no, we're
so
writing,
once we have the answer, let's go back.
No, we're writing all these questions down, and we'll make sure to update it.
I don't want just to say we don't know, and then
no. Well, we always update in the forum when we have follow-ups.
Great.
All right, so moving on. It is on the, by the way, it is on the roadmap, but we don't have a date for you yet, but we'll get some timing back on the forum. So let's take one more and then we'll go back to the deck. So can you share the current status of the migration between Center Code and Waze Discuss? Oh my gosh, I actually have an announcement about this. So at today, actually, you should be seeing an email in your inbox with next steps that will tell you exactly how to convert your old Center Code account into a Waze Discuss account. I believe the email has already been sent. If not, it'll be sent in the next hour. So check your email and you'll have full instructions for how to log into our brand new, beautiful website for Waze Discuss for the beta community. Great, let's head back to our pre-submitted questions. We only have a couple left there. So what should we do with bugs that we report multiple times on Center Code but don't get any attention? This is especially frustrating for bugs that affect account login and app crashes. So I will say that I know for a fact that fixing community bugs has been a major focus for us. In fact, just last week, we fixed 2 of the most reported longevity bugs ever from the baby Wazer. And then what was the other one, Guy, that Karine announced on Thursday that we had fixed finally?
Yeah, it was the baby Wazer took all my...
Yeah, that was the most exciting one.
It was a very old one, yeah.
So, there's some of the bugs that are raised here that have very complicated root causes. And they also have native crashes that are really hard for us to track. So because of that, the majority of our efforts this year are going to be in improving Waze and its stability. So that means GPS and network issues, and then also in fixing a lot of the bugs that require our attention for a long time now, like baby Wazer and a few of the other things that are now on the agenda. So for this task, they actually created a brand new performance squad, and Gal from the communities team is representing all of your major bugs there. And it'll be solely dedicated to app stability and performance. Do you have any other words to say about this new performance squad that we just launched?
No, you said it all, I think.
All right, fair enough. Fej, any words on that?
No, nothing specific, but I am definitely, as part of stepping into Hila's big shoes, I'm definitely looking to see that that bugs that the community reports get more attention. I think it's frustrating for you, and it's frustrating for me. And I think that I'm making a push that the various representative of the community in the various squads are going to put more focus and having the squad provide enough resources to deal with these kind of bugs.
Awesome. So we have one question left from the pre-submitted, but I know several more from the crowd. So let's take a look at our last question on the pre-submitted. Okay, so when can we expect to get time-based speed limits and other settings which are related to the new scheduler? So we actually already covered this one. So I'm not going to waste any more time on that because we spoke about it earlier. So it's on the roadmap. Gildy Satnik is on it.
It's part of H1.
And it's going to be part of H1, so we should have it before July. So let's go back now to our live submitted questions. Next up, we have, how will the improved mentoring work? Is there going to be a sign-up sheet? Fej, do you want to talk about this a little bit?
It's a good question. I'm not exactly sure what the operative steps are going to be. But I know that they're definitely going, again, once they're finalizing it and once they have the exact, I would say, mechanics, that they're going to publish it. I'm not entirely sure, so I don't want to answer something I'm not entirely sure.
I can share a little bit of what we've shared with community leadership. So we've already sent out forms to sign up for mentoring coordinator for those editors who are qualified for the role. And I know that over the last few weeks and in the next coming weeks, Anat Shmuelevitz is reaching out to all the different people who signed up to get them onboarded and up to pace. And I know that we're really aiming in really the next few weeks or month to get rolling on this process. There are some things to figure out, like, for example, in North America, we have a very different mentoring program than the rest of the world is using. So we've got a couple of bugs there in integrating all the different programs so that they're all housed in one unified system. But this is something that we're really fast tracking, especially in light of unlocking the map back to level 1 editors. We really want to make sure that we're capturing all these people, especially after the last several months of missing out on them, and getting them funneled right into your community mentoring so that they can be active and trained and great parts of all your local communities as well. Let's take, we've got time for 2 more, I think. We've got a couple of minutes left. WME related, can the ability to merge 2 duplicate RPPs be added to the editor? That's an interesting one. So I don't have an answer for that. I don't know. It's a little too technical, I think, for this group. So this is something we'll follow up on, and I'm the Lex. We'll get back to you on the forum for that one. So what's up next? With some editors having multiple states to cover, would it be possible to include a state boundaries layer? So this is another one that I feel like is a really long time ask. I know we also have lots of issues with the country borders as well. I don't know if this is on the roadmap for this year, dealing with country borders and state borders to make the WME a little bit more advanced on that. It's something we'll probably have to take back to the map team. Yeah. All right. I'm just going to keep on firing through these until we find one. Oh, we have one more left? Okay. So we've got only a couple left. So what's up? Is it possible to be added as CC when the staff opens a Buganizer request for the community? So I don't think that is possible. For Buganizer, it's really tightly managed for really only a few community members in high leadership can open it. What was that? Sorry.
In WME beta, they can.
Interesting. So in WME beta, apparently that can be done. But for everyone else who's not a beta pirate, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be able to have access for that. But I do know on the new Waze Discuss forum, you're going to have access to a lot of great indexed information like that, and you'll be able to track the live bugs from the public portal like you could in Center Code before as well. So I think that's our time for today. I want to really thank Guy and Fej for being so open with the community and answering all their questions, and also sharing all the great plans we have for this year. everybody, 2023 is going to be an amazing year for Waze. I know I'm speaking on behalf of the entire communities team. I can't wait to get out there. We're going to be at the NA Mega Meetup in just a week and a half about. And then we have all the rest of our local meetups and the other mega meetups all around the world. We'll see you in your home communities and countries. And of course, you'll always have us here on office hours once a month to check in online. So I just wanted to, again, thank you guys both so much for joining us. Thank you to the community for joining us once again. And happy 2023, everybody. It's going to be an awesome year.
It has to be.
All right. We'll leave it at that. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.